the thought of who would ever pay me for this doesn't even exist, because it's like, it quite literally turns into, why wouldn't anybody pay me for this? Like, this is a freaking steal. Like, are you kidding me? Like, come on in. Let's freaking go. Hey there, and welcome to the Life and Business on Purpose podcast, where purpose meets profit and mindset meets strategy. I'm your host, Sandy Patterson, former kindergarten teacher turned online business coach, mom of 2 really cool boys, and the creator of the Momentum Method. Through this 3-phase method over the past 2.5 years, I have helped dozens of women build values-aligned, profitable businesses without working 40+ hours a week, so they get to enjoy their business and live their lives on purpose. Around here, we do business differently because we believe success isn't about hustling to prove ourselves. We don't believe in rigid formulas or chasing someone else's version of success. It's about channeling perfection into power, moving with unstoppable trust in life and business, and leading with strategy that actually fits your life. Let's build your life and business on purpose together, one episode at a time. Here we go. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I am so freaking excited to dive into this topic today because it is something that comes up all the time inside of all of my spaces. And it's funny to look back on this now. When I was first going through my coach training program, I was building my business, learning how to become a coach in those very, very early phases. And I remember learning about the sales process initially. And my first experience with that was, okay, here's what you do. You book a discovery call. You get on the call. You ask the person if they want to work with you. They say yes. You close the call. And then that's like it. It's that simple. And while yes, it is that simple, and there's nothing wrong with that process at all, I've just come to realize that the discovery process, the sales process in itself, is so much more nuanced than that. And today, we're going to talk about how to sell your coaching without feeling like you have to become someone you're not. Because so often there are so many thoughts and beliefs and stories that we have about selling and sales and about selling our work, essentially, that makes it really tricky for a lot of us when we're first starting off. Or even when we're not first starting off, these things continue to come up throughout this process. Now, before we dive in, I am Sandy Patterson, and I help high-achieving, recovering perfectionists build online coaching businesses that create real clients, real income, and real freedom. I spent years in a job that I hated, giving all of my energy to work that kept me away from the life that I actually wanted with my own family. And I knew there was something more out there for me. So I left that job, and I now run my coaching business full-time, helping the most incredible women build businesses that support their lives instead of allowing those businesses to take over their lives. Inside my signature Momentum Method, I teach 3 things that I believe matter the most in business. And that is turning your perfectionism into power, building self-trust, and creating a values-aligned business that's actually fun and that feels good to show up for. So if you already know that your fear of selling your offer because you don't want to feel sleazy or annoying and you're ready to do something about it, there are 2 ways to work with me. If you want clarity on where good girl conditioning is running your business, and when I say good girl conditioning, I mean all of the patterns and habits and stories and beliefs that have you thinking that you neither need to perform, or things need to be perfect, or you need to people please, or you need people to like you. If you want to see where that conditioning is still running your business, your leadership, your success patterns, you can book a Good Girl Unleashed expansion call where we'll identify where you're still leading from the good girl conditioning so that you can stop building success through over-functioning. And if you already know you want to dismantle the good girl identity and build success from embodied self-trust and power and freedom, you can apply for my mastermind or for private coaching. The link for both of those is in the show notes for you. And you can choose the path that matches where you are at, but do not just listen to this episode and do nothing. Do something with it. Go out there and implement what I'm about to share with you, because this is going to be a game changer today. Now, I know exactly what you want. You want to sell your coaching, because when you sell, you make impact and help people. And when you're not giving people an opportunity to say yes, they're not going to buy. And transformation, true, deep transformation, does not happen when a financial transaction does not happen. And you want to sell your coaching through a process that feels natural and clean and effortless instead of feeling heavy or awkward or forced or sleazy and all of these things that come up when we think about selling. We wish that people would just kind of know what we're selling and that we don't have to do anything and they would just come to us. But really, we have to be out there giving people an opportunity to say yes to what we have and to share with them how we can help them solve this really specific problem. So right now, if I had to guess, you are probably scared of selling because you've been subconsciously taught that selling is sleazy and it's uncomfortable and it's annoying and it feels like you're like a car salesman, all these things that come up, right? And you have an underlying story about selling. And not only that, but what it means about you. We don't want people to perceive us as annoying. This is a problem because with this belief, what happens unintentionally is that you hold yourself back and you avoid directly inviting someone into your offers. You over-explain in your content and messaging. You undermarket your offers and you wait for people to just like magically realize and read between the lines that they need you instead of confidently inviting and leading them into a decision. And to fix this, I bet that you've been told before that what you need to do to sell your coaching without feeling sleazy is to look at selling as serving, which is true. Totally true, yes. But if that were the quick fix to the problem, like, oh, just see selling as serving, perfect. If that were the fix, then you wouldn't still be having a hard time selling and you wouldn't still find yourself pulling back in those moments when it's time to lead and invite people and ask them to make a decision. Because the idea that selling is serving, while yes, it's true, it doesn't actually resolve the deeper disconnect that you're feeling around being seen as someone who wants money, who wants clients, who is confident and owns their work, and who is able to lead people into a real yes or no decision. That's what's underneath that, right? The perception of how people are going to see us. So when we're told to see selling as serving, that idea doesn't just magically shift you from passive hoping that someone's going to buy into this very embodied leadership where selling feels effortless, which is essentially the goal. The idea that selling is serving helps a little bit, but it doesn't fully change the way that you relate to sales or the way that you see yourself in relation to sales. So that knowing that when you sell, your serving doesn't automatically, magically help you embody that conviction or communicate the real transformation or create the kind of clarity and urgency that gets people to a yes or a no decision. So to sell your offer really well, what you need is to become more fully available for leadership. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you need to own that you want clients, okay? Owning that you want money and that doesn't make you a bad person. It only enhances your ability to serve more people and make a greater impact. It means owning that your work creates real value and it can quite possibly, and probably already is, changing people's lives. Owning that people need a clear invitation and they need that decision moment, that decision point where they are forced, and not in a bad way, not forced in a bad way, but forced to make a decision for themselves and for their future. And also owning that being direct and leading your people is not the same thing as being pushy or annoying or sleazy or whatever else you want to call it. So it's not necessarily about learning how to do sales without feeling sleazy. It's about becoming the kind of woman who can openly want clients, unapologetically want money, want to make impact, and to hold leadership without making that mean that you're manipulative. right? Because when sales is rooted in conviction and clear transformation and a really clean invitation, you don't have to be anyone that you're not. You actually become more of who you are. And this is when sales actually do become easy. Easy sales is the byproduct of leadership. So the problem, again, with selling as serving that thought alone is that many women hear it and they become a cruise director. So bear with me here. When I say cruise director, I mean they're spending all their time making sure that everyone is comfortable and happy and never uncomfortable. But the cruise director isn't actually steering the ship. The captain is, right? This is making me want to go on a cruise, right? The captain is steering the ship and guiding the ship. Selling isn't about being a better server. It's about being the captain. Okay. So imagine you are standing at the helm of a ship and you know exactly where you're going. You know why this matters, why the destination matters. You know what's possible for people on board if they get on and come with you. Your job is not to beg people to get on the boat, right? Or convince people. It's not to chase people down the dock. Your job is not to convince someone who doesn't want to come on this cruise with you, right? Your job is to simply lead the people that already want to be there. So now you're asking, well, how the heck do I do this when it comes to sales? And I'm going to tell you how. I call this the 3 C's framework. And this is exactly what I work with my clients on, to become the women who can want clients unapologetically, who can talk about their offer and make invitations like it's no big deal and follow up with people and hear no and continue moving forward without spiraling or making those no's mean anything about them. So the first step in the 3 C's framework is to claim what you want. And I suggest journaling on this or meditating on it or whatever you do. Take a walk with your dog on it. But you have to stop making your desire mean something bad about you. So the first move here is to be really, really honest with yourself. Like, you want clients, you want money, you want impact, you want to be seen, and you want to lead. There is nothing wrong with any of those things. None of that is manipulative, none of it is selfish, and none of it makes you, quote unquote, too much. So the practice here is asking yourself, what do I actually want? Where am I still apologizing for wanting it? And where am I minimizing this desire? Like, yeah, I freaking want clients. I freaking want money. I freaking want to make an impact and help these people, help my people with this beautiful transformation that I provide, because I know what's available for them on the other side of this. And there's no need to be tiptoeing around that or hiding that anymore. And this takes practice, of course. And the last thing is, what story have I made up about women who want money or power or attention or leadership? Guaranteed that there are stories surrounding this, that if you want money, you're a bad person, or if you want power, you are a bitch, or if you want attention, you must be really, really obnoxious or annoying. We have to look at this, because as long as that desire, like what you truly want, like if you were just playing in your brain and you were like pie in the sky, what do I really, really want here? If there was no strings or limiting beliefs or thoughts or anything attached to it, if those desires feel unsafe, sales is going to feel unsafe, because sales is, again, the byproduct of that safety that you feel inside of leadership and inside of your desires. So that's the first spot that we really have to look at. What do you want, and what are you making that desire mean about you? And where is that kind of holding you back and causing you to maybe tiptoe or just not show up in your full power as if you fully were owning those desires? Okay. So the second step in the 3 C's framework is to anchor into the value of your work. And this is something that I work with my clients on for years at a time, because we are always refining and always working on this and stepping into this. But you need to let yourself believe that your work creates real transformation. Okay? Because people buy what they value, and nobody's going to value you or your services or the transformation more than you do. Okay? So a lot of women, it's not that they aren't actually comfortable with selling. It's just that they're uncomfortable with fully standing in the power of what they do. So this step, the second step, is really about shifting from, I hope people see the value, to I know what this work does and I know that it's freaking amazing and I know what is available for my people on the other side of this. And that doesn't mean arrogance. It doesn't mean you're conceited or you're whatever. It just means that you hold conviction in this work that you do. And until you can hold that and you can feel it like coursing through your veins, like inside your bones, like your people aren't going to feel it either. You have to feel it first. It starts with you. So a lot of people, a lot of women that I work with will go, yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Sandy. Like I need to feel that conviction. But what if I don't have the results yet? What if my clients don't have the results yet? What if I have no clients at all? And I always push back on that. And I go, really, like your first result is essentially you. So start with you. And then the results outside of that, so often women are minimizing, well, that's not a really big win, or it's, oh, that's not really a big deal, or, oh, I can't really screenshot that win. It doesn't matter. You have to start anchoring into the beauty and the transformation of the work that you provide. Otherwise, nobody else is going to feel it. I mean, when was the last time that you bought from someone that was like, yeah, okay, like I think I can help you. Sure, like no, like you are buying from people where you feel held and where you feel led, and that begins with you. It begins with you. So asking yourself these following questions can really help start to uncover this. And again, these are questions that we don't one and done this. This is like continuously tapping into this and looking at the work that we do day in and day out in our businesses and with our clients and with ourselves through this lens of conviction and how much value your work brings. So first question is, what changes for people because of my work? Where do they start? And where do they, like, what is possible for them when they go through this work with you? And if you're like, well, I'm not really sure, Sandy, like, what if you imagine you are like A+ star student, best client ever, who is like so stoked to be there with you, who is showing up, who's doing the work, who's implementing, who is like all in, who is like hanging on every one of your words and like so excited about this. If you think about that client, not the client that has one foot in, one foot out, that's skeptical, like no, think about the A+ client. For that A+ client, what changes for her because of the work that you do with her? So you literally map this out. You write it down. What is she experiencing? What is she feeling? How is this showing up in her daily life? What are the symptoms of this problem? And then when she goes through this work, what happens for her now? Now, what is she experiencing? What is she feeling now? What is no longer waking her up in the middle of the night? Okay. Now, the second question is, what becomes possible when someone says yes to this work with you? So it's not always just about the actual transformation inside of the work. That moment of people committing and saying yes to themselves in this way that maybe they've never said yes to themselves before, that can be transformative in itself. Like you giving people an opportunity to step into this next level of identity, this next level of whatever it is that you coach around. Just giving them an opportunity to be like, yes, it's time, I'm ready. That in itself can be transformative. I've filled out applications to be inside of spaces where I literally said in the application, just filling this application feels like a stretch for me. It feels expansive. It feels like the next level for me. So regardless of whether this turns out to be a good fit or not, I just appreciate having the opportunity to think about my business in this way and to think about my life, my identity in this way and where I'm at and really where I want to go. So keep that in mind, that can give people a transformation in themselves without you even working with them, right? And the last question here is, what is the cost of them staying where they are? This is so important. So what is it going to cost them if they have this problem or they have this thing or they have this pattern, whatever it is? What is it going to cost them to stay there and do nothing about it a week from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? This is big. What is it costing them? So those questions are really going to help you anchor into the conviction of your work. Because when you're anchored in the real value of what you offer, selling becomes so much easier and so much more natural, because it no longer feels like you're trying to just get something from people, right? That's the thing, is that when we have this idea that selling is sleazy or annoying, that idea comes from an imbalance between the value of what is being given and what is being received. So one person in an imbalanced relationship or an imbalanced sales transaction, one person will be getting more of a benefit than the other. So it's I'll just use a car example because it's easy. I pay $10,000 for this car, but the car is really actually only worth $1,000. And so now the car salesman has made out, and now I'm stuck with this junker car. It's actually only worth $1,000 that I paid. There's an imbalance there between the transaction and what is being given and what is being received. So when you are anchored into the value of the work, it no longer feels imbalanced. The thought of who would ever pay me for this doesn't even exist, because it's it quite literally turns into, why wouldn't anybody pay me for this? This is a freaking steal. Are you kidding me? Come on in. Let's freaking go. So you're inviting them. You're no longer trying to get something from them. You're inviting them into something really powerful and really transformative, and simply giving them an opportunity to say yes. And whether they say yes, no, maybe later, it literally means nothing about you. It doesn't mean anything about you, about your work, about where you're going, about what you're going to be able to build, and about the people that you already serve. Okay. Now, the third step inside of the 3 C's framework is to practice clean leadership. And notice the word practice is in there, because we have to practice this. It's like going to the gym and flexing the muscle and picking up the weights day in and day out. So what we need to practice here is making direct invitations without overperforming, without over-explaining or emotionally trying to manage people's response or people's perception, or people what are they going to think? We just practice inviting, sharing. We don't make it mean anything. We know that the right people are going to understand, and we know that the right people are already looking for a solution to this problem that we can help them solve. Now, this is really where the embodiment of your work becomes visible, because clean leadership, it sounds like this is who this is for. This is what it solves. This is what's possible for you. And if this resonates with you, or you want more information, here's exactly how to step in. And that's it. There's no pushing or convincing or performing or posturing to try to say something to get people to sign up with you. It's not that at all. It's really, really actually simple. It's just grounding in your work. And the first 2 steps are going to help you do that. If you can stand in your desire to want clients, to want money, to really want your business to make a huge impact, when you can ground in your conviction and inside of your offer and the transformation, this 3rd step becomes a lot easier, is practicing leading and inviting people. That's it. There's no convincing. There's no collapsing. There's no chasing. There's no making their decision mean something about your worth or about you. This is really the move from passive energy into leadership energy. So passive energy is where we're hoping somebody reads between the lines. We kind of tiptoe around. We hope that somebody will refer a friend to us. We hope that they'll understand that our work is really, really great. None of that. We step into the leadership energy and leading our people and standing behind our work. So you tell the truth, you extend the invitation, and you let people decide. You give them an opportunity to change their life by saying yes. So a little recap of the 3Cs framework. Number 1, claim what you want. Claim your desire. So own that you want clients, you want money, you want impact, you want leadership, you want all of those things. 2 is ground in your conviction. So trust and know that your work creates real value and real transformation. And number 3, you lead with a clean invitation. So you communicate clearly, you invite the people that you want in there, you let them know that you want them in there, you let them know why and what you see you guys working on together, and you release the need to force the outcome. This is the 3Cs I've seen when my clients implement this, and these are processes that I run myself through all the time too. I've seen the difference that it can make because you're no longer tiptoeing around and like crossing your fingers and hoping that somebody sees or somebody signs up. And when people do sign up, like it feels kind of random and it feels like I don't know how to replicate that. Once you have this on lockdown, yes, you understand as a byproduct that selling is serving, but it just makes it so much easier. And guess what? When you're doing something that feels easy and feels aligned and you're having fun, guess who follows you? Your dream clients follow you and they can't help but say, oh my gosh, like I resonate with you so much. And not just what you're saying, but I resonate with your energy and your leadership. I mean, that's the biggest compliment that you could ever get. And that's exactly what this framework is going to allow you to do. This 3Cs framework is a small piece of the work that I do overall with my clients. And through my signature momentum method, yes, we know that sales is serving, but it bleeds out into every other part of your business so that business feels really easy and really fun, so that you are making money, you are making impact, you are signing new clients every week, you are out there speaking about your work and owning your work, creating content that feels simple and easy, and your business is allowing you to live your life on purpose. The overall momentum method is transformative and has been transformative for my clients. The first step inside of the momentum method is turning your perfection into power, because so many good girls are running on this idea that the perfectionism is a problem. And it can be a problem if we don't leverage it, because it's not about fixing the perfectionism or lowering your high standards. You care deeply, you're always going to care deeply, and that is not the problem. The problem is when your perfectionism gets poured into things that don't actually matter and don't actually grow your business or deepen your client results, like overthinking captions, obsessing over the right words in a sales conversation, or getting stuck trying to make every move flawless and quote unquote organized before you take any action. Inside this pillar of the momentum method, we redirect that energy into what actually creates momentum in your business. So this is clear messaging, a cohesive and recognizable brand, clean decision-making, strong offers and a solid offer suite, and creating an exceptional client experience. So instead of wasting your brilliance on performative perfection, you learn to channel it into the assets and systems and delivery and leadership that builds trust, creates momentum, and makes people want to stay in your world long term. This is where you stop using the excuse of excellence to hide and you start using it as an unfair advantage to really lead in your business. Now, the second pillar inside of the momentum method is creating unstoppable self-trust. So we stop waiting for permission and we start backing ourselves regardless of what the external situation is. Because growing a business is not about finding this one magic strategy that suddenly makes everything click and makes your business blow up. It is about building the kind of self-trust that allows you to keep moving and selling and leading and coaching powerfully, even before there's validation or proof or the results have caught up to you. The good girl conditioning teaches us to trust the proof and that we need feedback and that we need other people's opinions before we trust our own instincts. And it teaches you to hesitate and second guess and wait until you feel fully ready before you move. But inside this pillar, we identify the gap between how you're currently showing up and the mindset and behaviors and leadership and decision-making of the coach you're becoming. And then we close that gap and you learn to trust yourself in those moments that matter the most, when you need to make a decision, when you need to hold the room, when you need to sell your offer, when you need to stand behind your messaging, when you need to keep showing up without constantly needing reassurance. Because your business grows in proportion to how deeply you trust yourself to lead it. Point blank. And momentum does not come from feeling certain first. It comes from being someone who can trust herself in motion and when things feel a little bit wobbly. And the third pillar inside of the momentum method is values-aligned strategy. So we stop following what looks good or what we saw somebody else do on Instagram, and we start building what works for us. A successful coaching business is not built by doing everything, by copying anyone or everyone, or forcing yourself into strategies that don't fit your strengths or your season of life or your values. Good girls are often exceptional at executing someone else's formula, but doing everything quote unquote right doesn't actually create those results that you want. And you've probably experienced this when you're like, I'm doing all the things and I'm doing them like I was taught and told, but I'm still not seeing the results. And it definitely doesn't always create a business that feels like yours. This is where business begins to feel like pushing a boulder up a hill because things feel so hard and so uncomfortable all the time. And you wonder, like, how am I going to sustain this? So inside this pillar, we simplify your approach and strip away strategies that are rooted in performance or pressure and best practices that disconnect you from your power. And instead, we build a business model and messaging and content rhythm and sales approach and really all the things that align with your voice and your vision and your values and your strength and what season of life you're in right now. And you learn to choose strategies that you can repeat without dreading it. And a sales process that feels really clean and really natural, like we talked about today, and delivery structures that support both your client's transformation and your own capacity in your life. Because the best strategy is not the one that looks good on Instagram or the one that everybody else is doing. It's the one that you can lead and feel good doing, and you can do it consistently, and you can trust yourself doing it over and over and over again. Okay, if this episode was helpful for you today and you are like, yep, Sandy, this is all me, and you know that your fear of selling your offer and really standing out because you don't want to feel annoying or sleazy, and you're like, yep, that's the problem. I want to fix this. There are two things that you can do here. So number one, if you want clarity on where this good girl conditioning is running your sales process and your thoughts and beliefs around sales, you can book a Good Girl Unleashed expansion call where we're going to identify where you're still leading from the good girl conditioning. So think perfectionism, people pleasing, overperforming, over-delivering, over-functioning, overthinking, so that you can stop building your business from that place, and instead you build it from a place of the Good Girl Unleashed, where you are unapologetically showing up and selling and doing your thing. And if you already know, you are like, I want to go deeper with this. I know that I want to completely dismantle this good girl identity that has been running the show, and I am ready to build success from within. Right? From embodied self-trust, from power, and from freedom within myself, you can apply for private coaching or my mastermind. The link for those are in the show notes. Now, if this episode resonated, it would mean the world to me if you hit the stars, leave a review. It helps get this podcast into the ears of more incredible women just like you who are building businesses and who are unleashing their good girl and building businesses in a way that feels really good to them. I will see you back here, same time, same place for the next episode. I love you so much. Mwah. Go out there and sell your offer unapologetically. If you are sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, this episode was made for me, you have two options. You can book your absolutely free, no pressure growth gap audit call. On this call, we'll take a look at your current life and business structure, identify where your gaps are, and show you how to close those gaps so you can get better results with less effort by working smarter and focusing your time on what actually moves the needle forward. The link is in the show notes for you. Or if you're ready to go from one-off wins to repeatable revenue with structure, strategy, and sales that support your life and keep dream clients coming back and your calendar full without burning out, you can apply to work together by clicking the link in the show notes. Make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss any new episodes. And if this episode hits home, please consider leaving a review, hitting those stars, and sending it to your biz bestie who's also ready to build a life and business on purpose. I'll see you next time.